America is supposedly a bastion of justice. But is that really true? So let's do a little looking into it, shall we? You can go into a court of law, and if you ask a question because you can't afford to hire representation, the judge says ignorance of the law is no excuse. And yet the judge, before they were a judge, were a lawyer. And before they were a lawyer, they spent several years at law school. So that implies that in order for us to be able to understand the law, we have to be able to go to law school and pass. Otherwise, we shouldn't be in court, at least not without representation. But that requires that we have money. And yet, our system is designed in such a way that most people do not have enough money to afford a lawyer. But you say, oh, contact legal aid. But legal aid only handles a very small number of matters. The many times that I've gone to legal aid, of all of those times, there was only one time when they offered to represent me. And then, most likely because the company that I was fighting against had a prominent lawyer on its board, they abruptly said, no, we're not going to cover you. You call up a lawyer, and the lawyer says, I charge $300 an hour. That's a reasonable fee. The bar says so. What's the bar? The bar is a bunch of lawyers. Well, of course they're going to say that their rate is reasonable, and yet most people cannot afford $300 an hour, let alone $100 or even $50 an hour. So is that rate really reasonable? Well, then you say, well, you could get pro bono work. Do you know how easy it is to find pro bono work? Well, unless you are Donald Trump and have sued major law firms into compliance, in which case you've got now millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of pro bono work available to you when you don't need it because you're super rich, you can't get it very easily. Are there places that provide it? Sure. The Southern Law Poverty Institute, the Institute of Justice, and other places. But finding pro bono support is not exactly easy. You say, well, how about doing contingency? And that's where a lawyer agrees to only be paid if you win. Well, that's great. But there are two problems. Number one, these companies that do contingency work generally are looking for easy to complete cases that won't take up much of their time. How many cases out there would require a significant amount of time or may not have a big payback? I mean, like if you're in a criminal court, how many contingency law firms are going to say, well, when you win, you're not going to be in court, and oh, geez, gosh darn it all, you're not really going to get much money, if anything, so sorry, can't help you. Or if you're fighting a major corporation like I tried to do, you go to big corporate companies, law firms that offer contingency. It's too difficult. It'll take too long. They don't want to actually take it to trial. You see, contingency law firms are big. They have hundreds, even thousands of lawyers, but they don't want hard work. They want easy work with big payoffs for them. So they make it so that they become bigger and more powerful by simply taking the cases they know they can win and throwing the rest of us out. So good luck getting a contingency case. And if you do, expect to pay a large amount of money. Even in cases involving workers' compensation, where you're guaranteed that they'll only take a certain percentage of the winnings, you're going to pay thousands of dollars out of that winning. Maybe more than $10,000. And then you have to pay taxes, of course. But you say, well, that's just that kind of stuff. But what about murder? Okay, let's talk about murder. a man murders somebody else, and assuming that they haven't been framed or they haven't been bullied during interrogation into false confession, okay, let's assume they legitimately committed murder and they're guilty, they may go to jail for decades, for life. There is a case of a young man who committed, I think it was vehicular murder. He was the son of a very, very rich family. He was given a slap on the wrist. He was not sent to jail, but he had committed murder. And there are people in large corporations that decide what they're going to do, not based on the number of people that they're killing, but based on how much money it's going to cost them to fight it to a standstill in court or pay the fines. Look at the tobacco industry, the lead industry, the chemical industry, the medical industry, the food industry, and so many other industries where corporations deliberately made decisions that they knew and concealed from the public about things that would kill and hurt many, many thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions or billions in the case of Forever Chemicals. What happened to those people? Were any of them called into court and say, oh, you helped to hurt and kill millions or billions of people, so you're going to spend life in jail? No. None of them. Is that justice when one man can spend life in jail for killing one person and a group of people who kill millions or billions of people or harm millions or billions of people knowing that they've done it and will continue to do it for decades, get off by paying a fine? That's not justice. That's a travesty of justice. There is no justice in this country. America is not built on justice. The laws are stacked against the common people and benefit the rich. Don't you get it? You commit murder, you commit rape, you'll pay a heavy fine. But somebody who does it over and over and over again in the name of a corporation gets away with it with very little consequences. So does that mean that it's better to murder many than to murder one? Well, not in my book. But apparently, the law of this country don't seem to understand the difference between murdering one person, or being a mass murderer for that matter, and murdering tens of thousands up to billions of people. Sounds to me like we've got a problem. And it's not going to change until we stop inviting the criminals to become our politicians.